latest revelation about Facebook receiving $100,000 from multiple fake Russian bots to run propaganda to influence. The current revelation barely scratches the surface. Now, I've been warning about Russian propaganda before the mainstream media from an actual American independent media perspective, not being swayed by Democrat or Republican politics, with a belief, right, that we should be creating our own independent journalism within the United States and not be depending on outside sources like RT. That doesn't mean that everything that RT does I disagree with. There's some obvious good reporting there. The question is, why have they been building up the trust for so long of the American people? Now, I raised that question as far back as 2012. Virtually hardly anyone on the internet at that time was asking that question. Okay, this whole Russian affect the election, and a lot of it is distortion, right? But the role of international disinformation agents operating within the matrix of social media to worldwide create racial tensions, false perceptions of invasions, exaggerated events, and they're literally, as I suspected, working both sides, not just the white supremacy side. You know what also came out? You know who else these Russian ads were targeting? And I felt it in spirit the whole time. They were working both sides, not the right. Black Lives Matter. And I don't think that everybody in Black Lives Matter is one thing. I don't put anybody in one box like that. But there was obvious, and there still is, disinformation on both sides. There's even fake news that exaggerates the crimes of Donald Trump, like taking away from the real stuff. And I was having a conversation with a friend earlier. Man, you know, we saw a lot of disinformation during the Obama administration. We literally saw people deflecting away from Obama's real crimes and people being murdered in the Middle East. And we saw people try to take into a black hole, Obama birther issue. Oh, Obama the Muslim. Obama the cokehead. Larry Sinclair. And then we saw these individuals that promoted these memes and promoted these memes and promoted these memes. So it was nothing but an Obama Mad Magazine caricature, just like George W. Bush. And they expect to be taken seriously? Well, we're surprised that some Obama critics were labeled racist, making it difficult on those Obama critics, those like you and me, right, that dislike the policies. We dislike the policies today, some of us, of Donald Trump. But it's not about their race, it's about the system that they represent. Never forget that. But see, when you look at reality through the lens of Facebook disinformation, man, and we keep coming back to it, ladies and gentlemen. Facebook admitted they're manipulating our emotions by manipulating the feed. That revelation goes back 5 years. Fast forward to 2014, 2015. They're telling people Sharia law is invading your neighborhood. It's coming for you. It's coming for you. And it just built and built. And being that I'm in the demographic of conspiracy researcher, or however Facebook would label it, conspiracy nutter, guess what kind of stuff I started seeing up on my feed? Why do you think I was flipping out in some of those videos? I think maybe I was seeing more of that stuff than you guys were. Depending on, you know, whether or not you're on Facebook or using social media or on YouTube. Right? But what people forget, right? This ain't Vegas. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. No, this is the real world. This is the streets. And the real streets in today's day and age, all these people hooked up to their smartphone, they're being influenced by what's being put on the internet. So it is not a separate issue. Got an interview coming up with a local here that gave me a ride to town for supplies. My starter's out. From a Native American perspective, she's seen the white supremacy. She's seen things change. She's been here for 25 years. But the race identity politics of this last election and the disinformation on the internet and social media, and you got all these kids on their smartphones. Where do you think they are? What, you think they're on Wikipedia? Not that all that is factual, but you think they're reading an encyclopedia? You think they're reading the secrets of the universe? They're on social media. And whether or not they're political, oh, they're going to see the disinformation. Okay? They're going to hear about the terror attack. Okay? They're going to be told to be afraid. They're going to be told there might be a draft around the corner. They're being told right now, World War III is around the corner. America is being brainwashed and it's being numbed. It's like it's being drugged. It's like it's being kidnapped in a car, right? And we have to rescue. We have to rescue. We have to hit the panic button. We have to get out. We have to parachute out. It is go time. We have to activate the parachute because this jet is going to crash. Okay, there's no change in the direction of the jet. We have to evacuate, evacuate, evacuate. You know, David Von Kleist, exchanged a few words with him on Facebook, positive. He said some brilliant things about people are divided about whether someone's standing or kneeling, this ridiculous NFL nonsense. And I said, you know what? Your voice is needed in the alternative media. Are you doing podcasts? He says, no, I'm done. We're well beyond that point. And you know what? Maybe soon. Who knows when? But I'll know when, and so will you. Maybe at one point I'll be beyond what I'm doing now. And who's to say that's going to be a bad thing, but it's going to be a transition. And there's certain realities that you have to live in, as I have to live in. We have to pay our bills. Okay? Even a crash situation or some sort of situation, unless it's like something really big, like that's it. Computers fried, everything reset, zero. You guys work it out. Try not to create too much blood. See, there's going to be beautiful things happening and horrific things happening during collapse scenarios. We want to do good things in this world as our main thing go-to regarding prepping, because it ain't about the mountain house. It's about how you're treating your brothers and sisters right now. And that's what the other people in the alternative media, so-called men, avoid like the plague. Someone asked me today, hey, what do you think about this guy? What do you think about that guy? Well, certainly I don't think anything of anyone that tortured any Iraqis. Kokesh, Bokesh. Some people have shown themselves to be self-serving. And the names, we can go on, but I'm not here, right, for a YouTube war. There are people out there launching YouTube wars on YouTubers. I'm just trying to give you the truth. And the truth is, I know what it felt like to feel like I was standing alone 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Folks, we're being co-opted by foreign nations. Those foreign nations, Russia, i.e., they are obviously tools of the New World Order. So it's obviously maybe just not Russia, but part of something else that connects with the pyramid. And we see RT based outside D.C. So they literally, it's like they set out the bait, and I said this in a video last year, check it out, the RT trap. As they went boom, boom, blowing off the kneecaps of the websites that happen to share RT, Sputnik, TASS. At the same time, I look at certain individuals with their pro-Putin narrative, and it's like psychoanalysis. Either they are under influence, under a spell, or some of these folks, and I know a lot of people aren't ready for this because the mainstream media has pretty much, how do I say this? What is the word I'm trying to use? Turd in the punch bowl. You've heard the turd in the punch bowl analogy from Alex Jones himself. Mainstream media did a turd in the punch bowl. Now many people in the independent alternative media don't realize that there has been foreign influence in the alternative media for many, many years. There is no reason why so many people have been giving a foreign leader, that would be Vladimir Putin, so much carte blanche, so much trust, like daddy, like father, like Trump. People say that Russia wants to stand in the face of the New World Order as Russia themselves murders civilians in Syria. Give me a break. It would take someone with a heart to see what both the United States and Russia have done to Afghanistan. And as they literally work both sides. Don't you realize this? Study the fall of Afghanistan. Late 1970s into the invasion by Russia. December 1979. And the nightmare began. And that country was never the same again. The U.S. funding radicals on the other side. Russia infiltrates the Afghan government on the other. Boom! Do you realize this? The United States and Russia have been destabilizing Middle Eastern country after Middle Eastern country. And what do you think their common agenda, goal, or pact is? With all the dead bodies and all the devastation and all the destroyed countries, do I really have to spell it out? So the very fact that there has been such a pro-Putin narrative without challenge, without healthy American patriotic discernment. What the fuck? What the fuck? Putin with his shirt off. I mean, and it goes on. And I just, there's something about this dude and the role he's going to play in the things that I've warned you about in America in the 2020s. If you are new to this channel, there is a video that I want you to watch. Okay, it is man has vision of large earthquakes before America's defenses are breached. And we talked about this 9 years ago in Portland, Oregon, live on the air. He saw what I posted recently. We haven't talked in many years, but he's already left the country. And he thinks we're close. But hopefully we have more time. But I'll tell you what, this North Korean situation, oh man, what a psyops. Oh man, what a psyops. Freak out the whole world. Freak out the whole world. Every day with the most insane rhetoric. With two puppets coordinating a script. A traumatized world that at one point won't want to hear anything anymore and won't receive the warning. Some of them, some will. But see, that's what's taking place, and this is what I warned about before all of this disinformation became very apparent on Facebook as I bring this to a close. We can look back at the things that I warned about in 2013. Manufactured civil unrest before World War III and potential occupation of the United States. Literally the after effects and aftermath of some sort of a strike, nukes or otherwise, more than likely high-tech weapons. So Russia and China can have the upper hand while pointing their finger at the United States and its depleted uranium and what it's done to the rest of the world. Because this case is building against the United States. And in the end, it's Americans, like you and me, that are in the crosshairs. And the people who live in these major cities. And the people that depend on this grid. And the people that depend on this banking system. And this large population. It's as if they've set up this large American population for a fall. And when this happens and when this crashes, this is a society that is so dependent on the most basic fundamental things that the unthinkable is going to happen in certain areas. That's right, as they say, this is the time to get right with God. Because all this stuff, right? All this stuff that they put out there, that Russia's been involved in, and those controlling those trolls, probably other trolls as well, other forms of disinformation, they barely scratched the surface with what's going on with Facebook. But this has been about entrapping souls. This is about our artificial intelligence, man and machine merging, and people becoming susceptible to this kill, 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 and having no feelings, and just worshiping the system and giving it their energy, and literally the point where elements of it will take the neural implant. As we see what's being rolled out now, as we see where we're moving now, and what they want to build after they destroy, by design, the old grid to make way for the new. Order out of chaos. That is their new Atlantis. That is their goal. And it's things like solar flares and the sun that have the power to neutralize, right, their dark prophecy. And neutralize their dark prophecy, the sun will. Either in our lifetimes or beyond. That I believe. So this is a battle for souls. It is being waged now on the internet, in the grid. It is influencing people around the world. It is a dark, archonic spell, and it is using technology and instantaneous communication to possess countless humans around the world. So the last thing you should be doing is fearing the collapse of the grid. The last thing you should be is in a state of fear of that giant ball in the sky that is anything but a fake light bulb. You take a look at the things that people believe in, and it is frightening. Looking at where we're going and where we could be in this new idiocracy in the next few years. I think the early 2020s are a period to get out of Dodge. You think things are heavy now? see nothing yet. This is the quiet before the storm. So yeah, I urge caution with Facebook. I urge caution with believing some of the things that are out there. But more so, for those of you that are already on a basic level, now it's time to go deeper. That's not random fake news. The question is, have they been successful at completely tearing apart our nation and civil discourse through this type of race-baiting, divide and conquer? Or perhaps the question is, have they taken you yet? Or are you still with me? Are you still with us? Ground control to Major Tom. We all have the power to free ourselves from this matrix. And that is your task right now. I'm Alex Ansari, signing off September 25th, 2017.